Ohio, Genki.
Alright, so you heard a little bit about my story, and basically, I guess I'm a little bit obsessed with learning systems and the approaches to doing things faster and better. In my life, particularly, I always like things that help me just move twice as fast as the average person. So, if I was working out, I'd like to find out the best workout that gives me the most results in the least amount of time. If I'm studying for a test, I always try to figure out, what are the best methods I can use to study less and retain more information. So as it relates to Japanese study, there are literally dozens and dozens of websites and software packages and all this stuff that can help you get to where you want to go. But I think that this deluge of information can always kind of frighten and intimidate people and maybe make you move slower than you need to. So this is what I want to explain through some of my video posts, are just the background information of some of the really technical stuff that you can use to move a lot faster. But first, I want to talk about learning DNA. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about learning DNA. And learning DNA to me is pretty simple. I think it's the proportionate measure of your sense of goal achievement relative to whatever it is you're studying. And I think for people who tend to enjoy language study more, they've figured out the best way to give them a high sense of goal achievement whenever they do something small or big relative to what they're actually studying. And I think this is crucial in helping you move forward. I say this because for me personally, I used to get super frustrated learning Japanese because my sense of goal achievement was so high. I knew all the systems, I knew what I wanted to do, but I had to do all these basic exercises over and over and over, and I had no way to really make it fun for myself. So my learning DNA was causing me to feel more stressed because my sense of goal achievement wasn't saying learning hello is a good thing, or learning how to say I'm from Jamaica is a good thing. So I think for you or anyone initially about to study Japanese, it's good to get a sense of your learning DNA. And I'm going to show you an example right now of what I consider part of my learning DNA at my current level of study. Alright, so this is one of my learning books, pretty simple exercise book. And in each, as you can see in here, these are like my daily sentences that I write. I was doing about 50 sentences per day, sometimes 60. On top of my SRSing, which I'll explain in another video post. But I think it's important for people to continuously write kanji while listening to it. But I'm showing this not to let anybody know I'm special or whatever. I'm just talking about learning DNA. And I think that if you'll sit down and do this, which some people consider pretty hardcore, by yourself, then maybe it just indicates that you're one of those people with a certain kind of learning DNA. Alright, another good way to examine learning DNA is to look at polygons online. This is a very simple exercise. Just type in YouTube polygon, and you'll notice that there are many people on the internet who are not old, who speak multiple languages, and they've taught themselves most of these languages outside of the native country these languages are spoken in. And I believe that these people have a very specific learning DNA. They all seem to have a casual, somewhat relaxed approach to learning language relative to their sense of goal achievement. So me now, the reason why I even thought of the idea of learning DNA was because I was trying to figure out why did I get so frustrated with my Japanese language studies and other people were just like happy and content. And eventually I realized that I was putting a lot of guilt on myself for not reaching the goals I had set. Instead of making smaller, more achievable bite-sized goals, what I did was I had these huge goals like learn 2,000 kanji in 3 months and blah blah blah, reach this level of speaking in this amount of months. And when the time passed, guess what? I got upset. So I think a relaxed approach to what you want to do is a good part of your learning DNA. Alright, so I'm going to do a quick recap. So the following questions can help you just kind of get a basic gauge of how you think about learning in general. So the first one is, what kind of goals do you set? Do you feel like the kind of person who sets a goal that's too high and then you get frustrated if you don't hit it? If you're that kind of person, maybe you should tweak the way you think, or at least what you believe, before going into the language learning experience. Do you believe you can learn thousands of kanji in only a few months? Do you believe you can listen to Japanese animation and understand what's going on after like 3 to 6 months? If the answer is yes or no, then you can kind of gauge yourself as you move forward. And also you have to understand, how achievable do you feel these things are? If you dive into language learning and you don't feel like you can actually do it, you tend to crash and burn somewhere around the 1 month mark or 2 month mark. And last thing is, how can you feel better about small successes? I like this one because this is what I'm really trying to work on. How can I feel good about just learning little tidbits of information instead of the whole thing? Because that's how language is. It's learning one sentence at a time, one word, one phrase, and it all adds up and eventually becomes fluency. So this kind of equates to learning DNA, and I hope you enjoyed this blog post.